What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Steven Ostentoski here of MaizenBrew, bringing you episode 10 of Freshman Feature. Episode 10, today we're covering the 4-star offensive guard out of North Andover, Massachusetts, early enrollee, massive man himself, Zak Zinter. You can find the previous episode in the description below. As always, playlist link is in the icon on your screen now. Let's get into it for episode 10. Zak Zinter went to St. Joe's Prep for the first 2 years, then transferred to this amazingly named school, Buckingham, Brown, and Nichols School in Massachusetts. What a name of a school. He played as center as a freshman, tackle as a sophomore, and guard as an upperclassman. So obviously he's played all over the line. Junior year, he led the team to an 8-1 record and was a team captain senior year. He holds the school record in shot put and won a fair amount of league and state championships in the shot put. Obviously a multi-sport athlete there. As a lineman, no stats, no metrics. Let's move on to his rankings. Rivals has him as a 4-star, 145 nationally, number 14 offensive tackle, which is interesting, and number 3 in Massachusetts. ESPN and 24/7 don't have a national ranking on him. ESPN has him as a 4-star, where 24/7 has him as a 3-star. So he's right around that range. Offensive guard, number 14, according to ESPN, and 3 in Massachusetts. 24/7, the least bullish on him at 18, offensive guard, number 4 in Massachusetts. That brings his composite just outside the top 250 at 264, number 10 offensive guard, and 3 in Massachusetts. So moving on to his recruitment, there was some initial Ohio State talk shifted to more high academic focus. That was a top priority for him. Notre Dame were talking him up before there was a shift to Michigan, so Notre Dame thought they were going to land him. Kind of resembles the recruitment of Reese Atterbury, where the insiders at Notre Dame were talking quite a bit about him potentially going to the Irish, but then Wolverines swooped in. Throughout his recruitment, Zak Zinter had visits to Stanford, Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State. He committed to the Wolverines May of 2019. Official visit to Notre Dame, interestingly enough, in June of 2019, but he did obviously stick with his commitment. Looking at his offers, he had Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa, Notre Dame, most of the other Big Ten. Outside the Big Ten, he had Florida, Auburn, Oregon, Pitt, Tennessee, UCLA, Virginia, West Virginia, and then this is my favorite section of the offers, high academics of Duke, Stanford, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Dartmouth. So he had all Big Ten, all the guys you want to see from the Midwest, lots of SEC and Pac-12 offers, and then all of the high academic offers. So that's like the perfect list that I would look for getting an offensive lineman. So for his scouting, so he's a strong, thick build, suited for guard, but has the length to play offensive tackle. Quick feet, bends at the knees well, sinks hips in run game, accurate with hand placement, very good body control. He has the athleticism to pull, physical, and finishes his blocks with a nasty streak. You'll definitely see that. Smart and high football IQ, natural instincts, passing off pass rushers, drives his legs consistently, and lots of praise for his run blocking techniques. Impressive given the low competition level that he's had to go against in Massachusetts. Some improvements he can make: lateral quickness, upper body flexibility and rotation, kick step development, and a little bit limited athletically. I don't agree with that last point, but we'll diagnose that in the film. So I also get a sense that a lot of his upsides are shown at offensive guard. I think his pulling ability hasn't really been stated much, but I think it's really good. Downsides are what would limit him from a full-time offensive tackle. So if he's not, a top-end sort of athletic offensive lineman, that's what you're looking for your tackles to deal with edge rushers. The kick step is definitely something that I think could improve, and that's another thing that tackles need to have down pat to deal with, again, those elite pass rushers. All right, looking at his run film here. So these are non-pulls, strictly like either down blocks or just blocks at the line of scrimmage for run plays. And the first thing you'll notice, he's just pancaking guys. Obviously, he's a very, very large man at his size. He's already on campus at, I think, like 330 pounds or something insane. So he's giant. What I like here, he has a good initial get off from what I can see. He's staying low right there against number 70. You saw that he kind of exploded through the hips, and guys are immediately affected. So it doesn't take a whole lot for guys to have movement from his initial punch. That shows good hip movement, so that's good technique. He did get dogged on a little bit for jumping on guys after blocking them. I kind of like it. Shows his ferocity there. But it's impressive that he shows good technique here despite the oversizing nature. So his initial punch and his ability to stay locked on blocks is really solid. Looking at combo blocks here. So these are blocks where he's initially engaging with one and then getting off to the second level. I think he does good with his arm extension here. And wow, he just, he blows me away with his pancakes here. But he does a good job of initially blocking a guy. And he can ID a second guy to pick up. So this one especially, double team here with 63, goes off to the linebacker. Does a good job through the hips, getting engaged, and pancakes as well. So similar thing here. He could have done a little better on the first block, but again, ID's the second guy really well. So yeah, just overall, that's really important, obviously, as an interior offensive line to have the ability to switch blocks like that. I don't think he's displaying the best athleticism there, but plenty to make it work. All right, now looking at pulls. This is one of my favorite aspects of his. I think he gets off pretty well, and I like him operating in space. Again, he shows the good hip explosion, the good technique to sink before his blocks. And it just shows overall pretty good athleticism for an offensive guard. I like how he gets just lower there and pancakes a guy. So I think he shows good footwork. Not like the most explosive off the line, but I think it's definitely not a downside. I think he shows good lateral movement. Maybe not elite, but plenty to make it work. So overall, I really like his ferocity. Again, it really comes through when operating in space there. And he's just no match for a little linebacker from Massachusetts like that. So getting to the outside edge, pulling on the interior here, he does a good job just dealing with his pulls. And then let's take a look here on his pass blocking. So again, that first play, you could see that as a negative where he didn't display a really good kick step there. And it's not something you see a whole lot. Again, he's on the interior, so you see that a lot more from tackles. He does show ability to do so right there. That last play had a pretty decent kick step. But overall, I think he's fine. There's nothing that leads me to believe he won't be okay. I'd like to see more like stunt pickups or things like that, but this is high school football in Massachusetts. You don't get to see a whole lot. There he did deal with a blitzer and then pancakes another guy. So given he's a smart guy, that's the most important thing to me for a pass blocker. He has athleticism to make it work, but does he have the smarts? And obviously he's a high academic guy, so that shows me he'll be able to deal with those stunts well. All right, so his comp for me would be Chuck Filiaga. So that's a guy who's pretty good in terms of build, right? He was a 4-star offensive tackle out of high school at 6'6", 335. Guy with limitations on the outside, but just a tremendous frame, a huge guy. Was more raw out of high school than what we're seeing out of Zinter here. The other guy I'm going to go with for a bit better comp here would be Ben Bredesen, who's obviously a mid-round NFL pick to Baltimore. High 4-star out of high school at 6'5", 300, so you're looking right around the same size of Zinter. Good technique, bendability out of high school, very heady, so he had a Stanford offer, so high academics as well. Lower body flexibility, won a lot of battles against shorter defensive linemen. Plays with a mean streak. I think we saw that plenty with Zinter. Can still polish up pass pro and strength up top. Again, those are things that we saw with Zinter as well. Questions high-level athleticism for speed rushers. Again, another aspect that likely puts Zinter on the inside. That did Bredesen as well. Lacks the pure tackle length that you're really looking for, but does show some flexibility and overall good hands. So that's pretty close to what we're seeing out of Zinter. I think Zinter is a little bit larger than what we get out of Bredesen, but very similar frames, very similar limitations that keep him on the inside. But Bredesen was obviously one of Michigan's better offensive linemen over the past decade. And Zinter has the opportunity to do that, and he seems like a guy with that sort of frame, the academics, the focus there. I think he is way more likely to hit than maybe any other offensive lineman, just given that scouting. So for projection, like I said, he's 6'6", 334 pounds at Michigan already. So when you're dealing with a guy that big, the concern is obviously, will he stay playing weight with a prospect of not having a season as well? That's even more important. So he does have a frame that can hold 350 functionally. Warner talks about him playing across the line, starting at guard as a starting point, possibility to swing to tackle if needed. Pretty solid depth on the interior as is for 2020. No reason to not get him a red shirt here unless he's one of those like phenom interior types. But given that he's already at 334, priority should just be shaping that body, right? Getting any bad weight off and just building that frame up, get him in shape, all good weight, and unleash him in 2021 as a redshirt freshman, as a high-quality backup. If he could be the 7th or 8th guy on the offensive line, that'd be a great step for him. Look at him for 2022. In 2021, you can put him on special teams, different things there, get him in garbage time to get experience. As a redshirt sophomore, that's where I think he'll have his opportunity to break through. I'd be shocked if he didn't. He seemingly checks all the boxes to be a high-quality starter down the line. That's all I got for Zak Zinter, guys. Let me know your thoughts on him. With that, that is it for Freshman Feature this year. Cover the entire 2020 class. Make sure you check the playlist that should be up in the icon above for all other episodes. But yeah, let me know what you guys want to see from the channel moving forward. I have a couple ideas, but I'm always interested to hear what you guys want to see. But yeah, besides that, like the video if you can, subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you guys are having a great rest of your day. Stay safe out there. As always, go Blue.